So I'm going to teach you a model called the conflict management model. Now, this model will drastically decrease the amount of conflict that you have in your relationship, as well as the type of conflict. So healthy conflict is when resolution occurs at the end of the conflict. Unhealthy conflict is when lots of fighting occurs, lots of arguing, physical violence, that type of thing, and then no resolution occurs at the end of it. You kind of ignore each other for a while, or the next day you wake up and pretend nothing's happened. But that's negative conflict. Positive conflict is actually really healthy for relationships because it means you're moving forward. It means that you are showing progress. Here's the two things that you need to understand. Number one, every single couple in the world goes through a phase, one or many phases of an extended period of time of conflict. And that includes things like, could be a month or two or even a year of just constant fighting and trying to get onto the same page. And it just feels like you're not getting anywhere because, surely fighting all the time is bad? No. Fighting all the time, but coming up with resolutions, that is the fastest growth period for a relationship. So, if at the end of the conflict phase, the couple survives the phase, then that is the healthy and progressing way. That is the positive. You've done it. You are now moving to the next step. You're now on the same page. That's the key thing. So what is the point of conflict? The point of conflict is optimality within the relationship, to do things in the best possible way for what the two of you believe. That's the first thing. And the second thing is to get onto the same page. Now, often what happens is that you have one party that is forcing values onto the relationship and the other one is quite far away from that. And the problem is when there's no shared values, conflict will always occur. So that's why it's so important that you determine as a couple what those shared values should be. For example, let's say you walk into a restaurant with your partner. Let's say in this instance, it's a male and a female. So you're the male and the female walks in next to you. That's your partner. And this beautiful waitress walks past. Now, is it okay to now look at this beautiful waitress and be like, wow, she's beautiful? You don't say it, but you think it. Is that okay? Is that disrespectful? What is your values there as a couple? And the same goes for your partner. Can she look at another guy without his shirt on and be like, whoa, that guy's, is that okay? So now you've got to determine as a couple, what is it? Those are what I call shared values. Now, the conflict manager model works like this. There is the accuser on the one hand, and on the other hand, there's the responder. Now, the accuser has three different names, three different roles. The first one, number one, is they are a conflict manager. They are the person that comes with the issue and they say, this is not okay. And then the accuser needs to answer. Number two, they are the conflict controller. The person that controls the conflict, they are the ones that decide what tools to use within the conflict. And number three, they are the initiator. They are the person that comes forward with the issue. The responder has a different role. Their role is, number one, to listen, to actively listen. And I don't mean you just kind of switch off and you let them talk, and once they're done, you'll be like, okay, I'll do it. That's not listening. That's just kind of reacting, and that's not going to work. As the listener, you need to actively understand what they're saying, and then it's your role as the listener, as the responder, to then rehash what they've said back to them. And this is called empathetic listening. For example, if they say, you're always on your phone, I never feel like you're around, then the responder will say, I can see that you feel like I'm always on my phone and that I'm not actually present. So you're rehashing what they say, and that shows them that you understand what they're saying, why they're saying it, and why it's a problem. Then you've got a choice. You can either argue it, but arguing it would be in the form of reframing. Reframing is taking a problem and showing that actually there's a reason for it. It's okay because I'm doing it for the following. So for example, yes, I am on my phone, but only when you're on your phone. So is that actually a problem? So you see how I've now changed the problem into, well, I'm just doing what you're doing when you're doing it. Okay, so that's reframing. Now, the partner may respond in that situation, yes, I need that sort of distraction and it works for me, but you, on the other hand, when you're on your phone, you're just nowhere. I can't speak to you, you're just completely gone. Whereas I can be on my phone and still be present. So do you see how it doesn't necessarily mean that if it's wrong for you, it's also wrong for me? Okay, that's just an example. Now let's take a situation here. Let's say you and your partner have defined roles and you say that the one partner cooks and the other partner does the dishes at the end of the meal, or at the end of after dinner, let's say. So day one comes and boom, the dishes aren't done. So you've done your cooking and your partner doesn't clean the dishes. But you've discussed this, you've agreed that actually that's how it needs to be done. So you go to your partner and you're very nice about it. You're like, it's the first time, lovey, honey, sweetheart. Just please do the dishes. It's important to keep a clean household because of the following. And you're very nice about it. Now, day two comes. Oh my word, it happens again. You cook and she or he does not do the dishes again. Now you're thinking, okay, what am I going to do? Okay, you're a little bit harder on them and you're like, I see the dishes aren't done. What's happening? Why aren't the dishes done? Come, please make sure you do the dishes. Please, just, do what we agreed on. That's what we said. Okay, day three comes. And guess what? The dishes aren't done. You cook the meal, dishes aren't done. And now you're just over it. You are so annoyed. And you're like, what do I need to do to get this through to them? So you go up to them and you say, what do you say? And I want you to think about it. What do you say? How do you approach that? This is now the third time they have done the same thing. And you've spoken to them over and over again. So the average person will have responses, and I want you to think about your responses and compare them to the average responses here. And I'll tell you why the average responses don't work. So the average response is, baby, why did you not do that? Do you not respect me? Do you not listen to anything I say? Why? What do I need to do around here to just get a little bit of respect? I feel like I'm going crazy. I feel like you're just not listening to me. I feel like you don't take me seriously. What's wrong with you? You're just an idiot. Okay, so that is the average response. The conflict manager, the person that's accusing, has a lot of tools at their disposal. A lot of them won't work and some of them will. To get the message across, you've been the nice guy or woman the first 2 times. The third time you're like, no. So the nice approach has not worked. Now it's actually time to kick some ass. You won't hear that from a lot of mental health professionals, but I'm a big believer that this is when it's important for them to know that there are serious consequences. Punishment, obviously not physical violence, but this is when you do need to raise your voice. This is depending on your values, of course. If you're a relationship that feels like you never need to raise your voice, then my point to you is, so long as you get a resolution at the end of it, that's great. Carry on with that. You are a very small percentage of couples that are able to do that and get a resolution so that both parties are on the same page at the end of it. But if you're not getting the resolution, then negative reinforcement is going to be the only thing that works. And it actually can work very darn well. So this is when you say something like, "Lovey, this is the third time. I am not happy about this. You haven't done the dishes. I'm not accepting this at all." And use a specific punishment for that. Come up with a specific punishment. Okay. Now, a lot of responders at this point will say something like, "Yeah, but you know, the thing is, yesterday you didn't do your part, which was to mop the floors. So why should I do this?" And now you found out what they're actually thinking for the first time. And it came out when you were actually not the nice guy. So do you see? So negative reinforcement can bring out the real reason why people don't do what they're supposed to do. So if they say, "But yesterday," or "at a different point you didn't do your part," I mean, of course, they have a leg to stand on there, right? If you didn't do your part, why should they do theirs? But your response as the conflict manager needs to be the following. You are bringing up something that is not related to the specific incident. I am only referring to this incident. If you want to bring up a problem about a separate incident, we'll do that, but not now. At a different time, at a different occasion. Don't bring up the historical stuff. Talk about the present. This, you didn't do the dishes. You agreed you were going to do the dishes. You didn't. Why? Explain to me why. And I want you to tell me how you're going to fix this. Now, what that says is this person, the partner, is now stuck in a corner because they can't actually use other excuses by taking your words and twisting them on you. Things like, for example, you see, you're always moaning. You're always fighting, blah, blah, blah. When you hear that sort of a thing, you've got to bring it back to the present and say, we are not here to talk about my moaning and my fighting. If you want to talk about that, bring it up at another time. But this is about the dishes, and you keep bringing it back to the present. Very important. Number 2, do not justify what you are saying. Don't say, "Do you respect me?" or "Don't you respect me? Is that why you're not doing it?" or "Why don't you listen to me?" or why? No, you can't say that, because that makes you look weak. That makes you look like you're looking for affirmation. And that's not what we're fighting about. If you want affirmation, that's a different argument. That's like, you never say that you love me, or that you want to be with me, or that you care for me. You never show. That's a different argument. That's not what we're talking about. Then the accuser has to respond. Let's talk about what the accuser should say in the situation. They should say, "Okay, I can see that this actually does really affect you. And, you know, I can see that it's important that I need to do the dishes. I haven't done the dishes, and I'm sorry. I think the reason why was because I was thinking about historical things, and I was being passive aggressive, actually. And now I realize it. And what I'm going to do next time is, I think that one of the reasons why I didn't do the dishes is because I wanted to do them at a time that suited me. But it seems like you want them done straight after dinner, and it doesn't really suit me, because I want to play with the children, or I want to play with the dogs, and, you know, or I've got other things I need to do, or I want to watch TV, I want to relax a little bit, and then at the end of the night. So what I'll do tomorrow, you cook, and then I'll do the dishes. But can I do the dishes, let's say, once I've had a bit of time to relax, or once I've played with the dogs or the kids, or, you know, just so that it's done and we're both happy, but it'll be done at a time that's convenient for me. Is that okay? What do you think of that? That shows that you've listened, you've rehashed what they've said, and you've come up with a resolution that will work for the both of you. Right, then it is up to the conflict manager to then respond and say, yes, I'm happy with that. I can work with that. But at that point, it's important, don't go and lose your credibility by then saying, yes, okay, I'll do that. But you are just, I can't stand you. I hate that you do this to me all the time. You get me into this mode, and I hate myself. Once you go down that route, you are not being specific anymore. You're losing credibility for why you are fighting, and you are building a case for them. And that's not what you want. Conflict, the point of conflict is resolution. If you don't get to resolution, all that conflict is probably for nothing.